The galaxy was silent, the kind of silence that felt heavy and unnatural. Many alien civilizations had already fallen to the same force, the powerful empire known as the Valkyrie Dominion. Their name alone was enough to create fear across the stars. Whole planets had gone dark after their arrival. Entire species vanished without resistance. Valkyrie ships moved through space like dark shadows, fast, cold, and emotionless. Their metallic hulls absorbed light, making them look like floating knives cutting through the void. They never spoke to their victims. They never offered peace. Wherever they arrived, silence followed. No one had ever stopped them. For years, the Valkyrie believed they were unstoppable. For years, they believed the galaxy already belonged to them. But that belief changed on an ordinary patrol day. A Valkyrie fleet was moving across the edge of an abandoned star system, checking for any signs of survivors. Their scanners swept through dust clouds and broken asteroids. The system was dead. No ships, no colonies, nothing worth attention. Then something unexpected appeared on their screens. A single signal. A single ship. A single heartbeat of energy. The Valkyrie commander, Lord Vexor, rose from his command throne. His 4 glowing eyes narrowed as he studied the reading. A human warship? One of his officers said. Here? Alone. The commander let out a low laugh, a cruel sound that echoed across the bridge. Impossible. Humans are extinct in this sector. Their worlds were wiped long ago. But the scanner did not lie. There was a human ship. Old but running. Silent but alive. The Valkyrie officers watched in confusion. Why would humans leave one ship behind? Why was it in a dead star system? Why was it not moving? The long-range scans returned more details, and the bridge suddenly grew quiet. The ship is locked, an officer reported. All systems hidden. No transmissions. No movement. It is just watching us. Something stirred inside the Valkyrie commander, something he had never felt before. Uncertainty. Lord Vexor stepped closer to the hologram of the lone human ship. Its hull was scarred but strong. Its engine core was active but cooled. Its weapons were offline, yet ready at a moment's notice. It looked like a predator pretending to sleep. Humans do not act without reason, the commander growled. Why is this ship here? No one had an answer. The Valkyrie Dominion had destroyed human colonies decades ago. The surviving human fleets had vanished into deep space. The Valkyrie assumed they were gone forever. They assumed the humans had accepted defeat. But now, a single warship quietly faced their entire patrol fleet. The Valkyrie commanders looked at each other with unease. One ship should not cause fear, but this one did. Because humans, even when broken and lost, were known to be dangerous. Send a scout unit, Lord Vexor ordered. A small Valkyrie attack craft moved toward the human ship. The pilot reported no energy spikes, no shield activation, no weapon targeting. The human vessel simply floated, watching, awaiting. Perhaps it is empty, another officer suggested. A ghost ship. But the sensors showed life signs. A crew of 11. Heartbeat steady. No movement on board. No panic. No fear. They were waiting. As the scout ship moved closer, something happened. A soft pulse of energy spread from the human warship. Quiet, controlled, like a heartbeat. The Valkyrie officer monitoring the scanners frowned. Commander, their systems just changed. Explain. The ship is no longer silent. It is waking up. On the bridge screens, the old human warship lit up with slow, rising power. One light at a time. One system at a time. Weapons warming. Shields powering. Engines humming. The Valkyrie fleet stopped dead in space. The human ship was not attacking. It was not fleeing. It was simply preparing, confident, patient, fearless. As if it had been waiting for the Valkyrie to arrive. Lord Vexor felt something strange crawling up his spine. His voice was lower now, steadier, but filled with tension. Why would humans send only one ship, he whispered, against an empire that conquered galaxies? No one answered. The scout pilot spoke again. Commander, the human ship is locking onto us. The Valkyrie bridge went silent. Fire a warning shot, Lord Vexor ordered. A small plasma bolt shot across the void, passing near the human warship. It did not respond. But the power in its core kept rising. Higher. Stronger. Unnatural. Inside the human ship, unknown to the Valkyrie, Captain Mira Hale watched the enemy fleet with calm eyes. Her ship, the HWS Resolute, had been waiting in the shadows for years. Waiting for the moment humanity could finally strike back. Waiting for the moment the Valkyrie would grow careless enough to lower their guard. Today was that day. Mira tapped a control on her chair. Begin Phase 1, she said softly. Her crew obeyed without hesitation. Outside, the human ship released another soft energy pulse. This time the pulse spread wider. It reached the Valkyrie scout ship, and its engines shut down instantly. No, the pilot shouted before the channel went dead. The Valkyrie commander stepped back in shock. The human ship disabled our scout in one hit. Lord Vexor's hands tightened around his staff. This was no accident, he said. This is a trap. For the first time in Valkyrie history, they realized humans had returned. And this time humanity was not running. They were hunting. The Valkyrie bridge shook with quiet tension. Every officer stood frozen, staring at the dark screen where the scout pilot signal had vanished. In the past, the Valkyrie had faced rebellions, uprisings, and desperate last stands. But this was different. The human ship had done something no enemy had ever done. It stopped a Valkyrie craft with a single, controlled energy pulse. No explosions. No fire. Just silence. Lord Vexor's voice trembled with anger, but underneath the anger was fear. Find out what the humans are using, he ordered. No known human weapon matches this. His officers pulled up data streams, running scans faster and faster. But the results only confused them more. It is not normal power, one officer said. It bends space around the ship. It is not a shield, not a weapon, something in between. Lord Vexor growled. Humans should not have this technology. They were supposed to be dead, another officer whispered. The commander slammed his staff on the floor. Nothing that breathes should dare stand against the Dominion. But the hologram of the human warship, the HWS Resolute, continued glowing with rising energy. Come. Prepared. Watching. Like a wolf surrounded by blind predators. Aboard the human warship. Captain Mira Hale sat inside the Resolute's command chamber. A soft blue light glowed around her face, showing no fear, no hesitation. Only determination. Her crew watched her, waiting for orders. They were tired, scarred, and carrying years of anger in their hearts. Each of them had lost someone, family, friends, entire villages, to the Valkyrie. For them this was not just a mission. This was justice. Mira looked at the floating tactical screen showing the immobilized Valkyrie scout. Disable their communications next, she said. But no destruction. Not yet. The communications officer nodded. Yes, Captain. He pressed a sequence of commands. The Resolute sent out another silent pulse, soft, delicate, almost invisible. Moments later, the Valkyrie fleet saw static flood their channels. Commander, a Valkyrie tech officer shouted. We've lost long-range communication. Another officer yelled, short-range links failing. They're cutting us off. Within seconds, the entire Valkyrie patrol fleet went dark. No signals in. No signals out. Trap. Lord Vexor stared at the human ship with rising horror. They are isolating us, he whispered. They want us alone. The Valkyrie tried to fight back. Prepare weapons. Vexor ordered. Destroy that ship. Valkyrie cannons charged, glowing with bright crimson energy. Their ships aimed at the small human vessel, ready to erase it in one overwhelming strike. Fire. The Valkyrie fleet shot a powerful combined blast, strong enough to tear apart a moon. But when the energy reached the human ship, something impossible happened. The blast bent around the Resolute, curving like water flowing around a stone, then disappeared into empty space. The bridge fell silent. What is that? An officer whispered. Lord Vexor stared in disbelief. How can a human ship do this? Inside the Resolute, the crew watched the curved blast streak harmlessly into the void. It worked, the engineer said quietly. The field held. Mira nodded. Good. Let them see that their strength means nothing. Her tactical officer turned. Captain, they will attack again. They must, Mira replied. Their pride leaves them no choice. The Valkyrie began to panic. The Valkyrie fired again. And again. Each blast bent around the human ship just like the first one. Not a single shot touched the Resolute. For the first time in Valkyrie history their weapons felt weak. Commander, what do we do? An officer asked, voice shaking. Lord Vexor could not answer. Rage and fear fought inside him. He had seen many enemies break before the Dominion. But never had the Dominion been the ones breaking. This cannot be real, he whispered. Captain Mira makes her move. Phase 2, Mira ordered calmly. The human ship's belly opened, revealing a long, glowing device. Old human engineering mixed with something far more advanced. Target their engines only, she said. We warned them before we finished this. The Resolute fired. A thin beam of white light struck the largest Valkyrie cruiser. It didn't explode, but its engines shut down instantly. The ship drifted powerless. The Valkyrie bridge alarms howled. One human blast disabled a capital ship. An officer shouted in terror. Another shouted, Commander, 3 of our ships just lost power. They cannot move. The message. Suddenly, a soft human voice filled the Valkyrie speakers. This is Captain Mira Hale of the human warship Resolute. The Valkyrie froze. A human had spoken to them. Not in fear. Not in surrender. But in control. You will leave this system, Mira said. You will end all attacks on nearby colonies. If you refuse, we will continue disabling your ships. Lord Vexor roared, You dare command us, human? Mira's voice stayed calm. You attacked our worlds. You hunted our people. You thought humanity was gone. Pause. You were wrong. The Valkyrie bridge fell silent. Mira continued, There is no negotiation. No surrender. This is your last warning. The Valkyrie's growing fear. Lord Vexor looked around at his officers. They were afraid. More than afraid, they were lost. Everything they believed in was shattering. An empire that never knew fear. Now feared a single human warship. Commander, an officer whispered. If this one ship can do this, what if humans have more? Lord Vexor felt his heart freeze. He understood the truth. If humanity had returned, the Dominion was in danger. Real danger. The human ship prepares for the final phase. Inside the Resolute, the ship hummed louder. Power grew. Systems aligned. The next move would change the future of the galaxy. Mira looked at her crew. Prepare Phase 3, she said. The Valkyrie must understand the full message. Her second-in-command nodded. And what message is that, Captain? Mira's eyes hardened. That humans never disappear. They return. The lights inside the Valkyrie command ship pulsed red. Warning alarms echoed through every hallway. Officers rushed back and forth, trying to understand what was happening. Trying to understand how one human ship had placed an entire Valkyrie patrol fleet on its knees. Lord Vexor, once proud and feared across 100 star systems, now stood frozen. His claws gripped the command rail so tightly that cracks formed in the metal. How? He whispered. How can they do this? His officers had no answer. No one did. The Dominion had conquered entire civilizations without losing a single major battle. But now, one old human warship had broken their formations, shut down their engines and silenced their communications. This was not a battle. This was a warning. A message carved into the stars. And the Valkyrie hated it. Inside the Resolute, the calm before the storm. Captain Mira Hale watched the Valkyrie fleet drifting helplessly. Their once powerful cruisers floated like dead metal in the black void. She felt no joy, no pride, only a sense of duty. Status? She asked. Her officer replied, 3 enemy cruisers disabled. 2 more partially blinded. And their flagship has lost long-range sensors. Good, Mira said softly. We proceed. The ship felt alive now. Thrusters humming, lights glowing, systems warming like a sleeping giant waking up. Each member of the crew felt the rising energy, the rising purpose. This wasn't revenge. This wasn't rage. This was humanity's return to the galaxy. And the galaxy would remember it. The Valkyrie attempt to regain control. Commander, one officer cried, we are detecting movement. All Valkyrie eyes snapped to the screens. The human warship was approaching slowly. Not rushing. Not hiding. It moved forward with steady confidence, like a hunter stepping closer to its prey. Fear spread like cold wind across the bridge. Prepare weapons. Vexor ordered, though his voice cracked. We cannot fire, Commander, the weapons officer said, shaking. Our systems were disabled by the human pulse. What about backup power? The auxiliary cores? We tried everything. Nothing responds. The human interference is too strong. Lord Vexor stared at the human ship approaching them, growing larger on the screen. It was not the size of a dreadnought. It did not carry thousands of weapons. It was a simple human cruiser, old, armored, and scarred. But it felt unstoppable. Captain Mira speaks again. A transmission flashed on the Valkyrie screen. This is Captain Mira Hale, she said. Her voice was steady and calm, but carried a weight that pressed on every Valkyrie heart. You attacked our worlds without mercy. You hunted our people like animals. You believed you erased us from the galaxy. Her eyes narrowed. But humans do not vanish. We adapt. We hide. We learn. And then we return stronger. Her words cut deeper than any weapon. You will retreat from this system. Now. The Valkyrie bridge fell silent. Lord Vexor's pride fought with fear. His claws shook. His voice trembled. Human, do you think one ship can stop the Dominion? Mira did not smile. She simply looked tired from years of running, fighting, surviving. One ship already has. Reinforcements are called, but too late. Lord Vexor turned to his officers. Send a distress beacon. Call for reinforcements. But Commander, communications are. Use any channel you can. The officer trembled as he tried one emergency frequency after another. No response. The humans had blocked everything. Finally, after minutes of trying, a faint signal escaped. A weak transmission. A whisper to the Dominion fleet. Distress beacon sent, Commander, the officer said. But we do not know who will receive it. Lord Vexor let out a shaky breath. At last, some hope. Inside the Resolute, the clock begins. The tactical officer turned to Mira. Captain, we detected a weak burst of transmission from the enemy flagship. Mira nodded. Let it go. The officer blinked. Captain? Should we block it? No, Mira said. They need to believe they still have control. Their reinforcements will come. And when they do, the galaxy will see what humans have become. Her crew exchanged looks. They knew what was coming next. They knew the Resolute was never meant to fight only one Valkyrie patrol. It was meant to face much more. The Valkyrie reinforcements arrive. 20 minutes later, space rippled behind the disabled Valkyrie fleet. 3 massive portals opened, swirling with purple and blue light. Valkyrie reinforcements emerged, sleek, deadly ships covered in armored plating. A destroyer. A heavy cruiser. And a dreadnought. The dreadnought alone was 10 times larger than the Resolute. Lord Vexor smiled, relief flooding through him. Now, human, he hissed, you will see true Valkyrie power. But Mira was already waiting. The Resolute did not move. Did not charge weapons. Did not flee. It simply turned to face the new arrivals, one small ship against a wall of giants. Mira stood and gave her next command. Prepare Phase 3. Bring the core online. Her engineer froze. Captain, once we activate the core there may be no turning back. Mira looked out the window toward the incoming dreadnought. They need to understand, she said. They must know humans do not kneel. Not now. Not ever. Her eyes hardened. Begin. The Valkyrie watched something they have never seen. The human ship's engine core ignited. Light burst from the Resolute, white, bright, rising like a newborn star. The glow spread across its hull, covering the ship in shimmering energy. The Valkyrie officers gasped. Lord Vexor stumbled backward. What is happening to the human ship? The sensors screamed warnings. Commander, its energy levels are rising beyond known limits. No technology should reach this output. Lord Vexor stared in pure horror. What are the humans hiding? The human secret is revealed. Inside the Resolute, the deck trembled softly. The engines hummed like thunder. The crew held onto their stations as the ship's core reached full activation. Mira spoke calmly. Humans did not disappear into deep space. We evolved in it. Her ship surged with blinding light. Let them come. The star system shook as the Resolute's core burned bright like a rising sun. Valkyrie ships, battle stations armed, cannons glowing, paused for a moment, confused and afraid. The humans had been gone for decades. But this did not look like a species running from extinction. This looked like a return. The Valkyrie dreadnought arrives. The Valkyrie dreadnought Vengeance class moved into position. It was massive, its shadow alone covered the drifting patrol ships. Spikes of black armor jutted from its hull. Thousands of guns lined its sides like the teeth of a metal beast. Inside, Commander Zorak, the dreadnought captain, watched the tiny human ship glowing in the darkness. That thing defeated you? He asked Vexor with disbelief. Lord Vexor growled. We were unprepared. Zorak laughed. A deep, sharp sound. One human ship cannot defeat a dreadnought. He raised his clawed hand. Power all cannons. Target the human vessel. Aboard the Resolute, the final preparations. The entire ship vibrated as the Nova core reached higher energy levels. Blue light crawled along the floor. Control panels glowed brighter. Heat filled the air. Captain Mira Hale stood calmly in the center of the command deck. Her engineer looked worried. Captain, if we push the core too far, the ship won't handle it. I know, Mira said quietly. But the galaxy needs this. The tactical officer turned. Dreadnought is charging weapons. Full power. Mira inhaled slowly. Prepare phase 3. Do not fire until I say. The dreadnought opens fire. The Vengeance-class dreadnought unleashed its fury. A Titan's roar echoed across space as thousands of crimson beams shot toward the Resolute. The energy shook asteroids, melted ice clouds, and lit up the dead system like a red sun. The Valkyrie officers cheered. Vexor smiled for the first time since the battle began. It's over, Zorak said. But they were wrong. Very wrong. The human ship breaks reality. The moment the blasts reached the Resolute, the air around the ship bent. Not shield deflection. Not armor impact. Reality itself warped. The massive blast curved, twisted, and folded around the Resolute, vanishing into a spiral of shimmering light. The dreadnought's attack simply disappeared. The Valkyrie bridge fell silent. Zorak's eyes widened in horror. What is that? What is that? Lord Vexor whispered. The humans have changed. Mira gives the order. Inside the Resolute, the ship hummed like a living creature. The windows flashed white as the Nova core reached full output. Core stable, the engineer reported, sweat on his forehead. But not for long. We have minutes. That's all we need, Mira replied. Her voice was steady. Come. Determined. Target the dreadnought. The tactical officer's hands danced over the controls. Target locked. Mira exhaled. Fire. The Nova strike. The Resolute released a single blast. Not a beam. Not a missile. A pulse, white, silent, and expanding like a ripple on still water. It touched the dreadnought. And everything changed. The dreadnought's armor cracked instantly. Its energy shields collapsed like glass shattering in slow motion. Its weapons went dark one by one. Inside the Valkyrie ship, officers screamed as systems fried. Screens went black. Sparks rained. Gravity flickered. The dreadnought drifted, powerless and blind. One human pulse. Against a ship the size of a city. Zorak fell to his knees. This is impossible. The Valkyrie fleet breaks. Panic spread. Valkyrie officers shouted, pushed past each other, desperately trying to escape. Some tried to reboot systems. Others cried out in disbelief. This cannot be human technology. No species can disable a dreadnought. Commander, what do we do? Lord Vexor felt his control slipping. His pride collapsed. His empire's might looked suddenly small. We retreat, he whispered. Everyone froze. Valkyrie commanders never retreated. But today they had no choice. Myra's final message. A new transmission cut through every ship, every speaker, every emergency channel. This is Captain Mira Hale, she said. Her voice echoed across the entire Valkyrie fleet. You came to conquer another system. She paused. But today you will leave with a warning. Every Valkyrie listened, silent, afraid. Humanity is not gone. We are not defeated. And if the Dominion continues its conquest. Her eyes turned cold. We will return with more than a single ship. Her message ended. Silence followed. A heavy silence the Valkyrie had never felt before. Valkyrie retreat. Zorak shouted, all ships, fall back. Pull away from this system. Engines sputtered back to life. Damaged cruisers turned slowly. Patrol ships limped into escape formation. The entire Valkyrie reinforcement fleet began to retreat. One human ship had forced a retreat of an empire known for never backing down. Inside the Resolute, aftermath. The ship dimmed. Lights faded. Engines cooled. The Nova core powered down, glowing weakly. The crew collapsed into their chairs, exhausted. The engineer sighed. Captain, the core is badly strained. We cannot use Phase 3 again anytime soon. Mira nodded. We won what we needed to. Her eyes turned to the view outside, the retreating Valkyrie ships shrinking into distant shadows. This is only the beginning, she whispered. One crew member asked softly. Captain, do you think the Valkyrie will return with a bigger army? Mira looked at her people, the survivors of a destroyed species, standing strong in the dark of space. Yes, she said. But when they do. Her face hardened. The humans will be ready. The Valkyrie retreat left the star system quiet again. But this time the silence felt different. It was not the silence of death, but the silence before a storm. The Resolute drifted in the center of the battlefield, its lights dim, its engines cooling, its crew exhausted. To the naked eye the ship looked weak. But in every direction the wreckage of Valkyrie ships told a different story. Humanity had returned. And the galaxy knew it. Valkyrie Empire, Emergency High Council. Far away on the Valkyrie capital world Vorkuin, the High Council gathered inside a massive hall of black stone. Thousands of glowing pillars lit the chamber as holograms of commanders appeared. Lord Vexer stood in the center, head bowed. Commander Zorak, still shaken from losing the dreadnought, stood beside him. The High Council leader, Councillor Zeltor, glared down from his throne. "You allowed a human ship to destroy a dreadnought?" he hissed. Zorak clenched his fists. It was no normal human ship. It used technology we have never seen. Another council member leaned forward. Humans were weak, primitive. How did they create something so strong? Vexer lifted his head slowly. They disappeared for decades. We believed they were extinct. But they were preparing. Murmurs filled the hall. One counselor whispered, "The humans have evolved." The leader slammed his staff, silencing the room. "Prepare the Dominion fleet. Send scouts. Search every star. Humanity must not rise again." But deep inside his cold heart, even he felt a whisper of fear. If the humans could build one ship like that, how many more could they have? Aboard the Resolute, a strange signal. Inside the Resolute, repairs were underway. Sparks were still falling from the ceiling. Engineers worked on melted circuits. Medical officers treated the wounded. The ship was quiet, too quiet. Then suddenly the communications console beeped. The technician frowned. "Captain, we're receiving a signal." Mira turned. "From the Valkyrie?" "No. The signal is human." The crew froze. "That's impossible," someone whispered. "There are no human colonies left out here." But the signal was real, faint, old, and distant. "Put it on audio," Mira said. A soft crackling filled the room. Then a voice, broken, static-filled but unmistakably human, whispered, "Resolute, if you hear this, you are not alone." The crew stiffened. Myra's heart pounded. The voice continued, growing clearer. "The Lost Fleet still lives." The bridge fell into complete silence. The Lost Fleet. A legend among humans. A fleet that vanished centuries ago during the Valkyrie War. Some believed it fled into dark space. Others believed it was destroyed. No one knew the truth. Until now. The voice came again. "Coordinates, hidden sector. Follow the beacon." Then the message ended. The crew turned to Mira. "Captain," said her second-in-command, "is this real?" Mira stared at the map unfolding on her screen, the coordinates glowing in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. "It has to be," she whispered. "Human ships use that frequency. No one else would know it." A spark of hope lit in her eyes. If the Lost Fleet survived, humanity may have more ships than we believed. The crew reacted. The engineer pounded his fist softly on the console. "We're not alone, after all this time?" One of the younger crew members had tears in her eyes. "My brother, he always believed the Lost Fleet was still out there." Mira raised her hand, steady and calm. "Hope is good," she said. "But we must stay focused. The Valkyrie will return soon, stronger." Her tactical officer spoke. "Captain, the ship needs repairs. Core is unstable. Engines are weak." "How long?" Mira asked. 20 hours, minimum." Mira nodded. "Then we have 20 hours before the Valkyrie come back with a real army." Valkyrie Empire, preparing for war. Back in the Valkyrie capital, the Dominion fleet was gathering. Hundreds of warships. Thousands of attack craft. 3 new dreadnoughts. The Valkyrie High Council gave a single order. "Destroy the human ship and all humans that remain." A scout officer approached. "Counselor, we traced the human signal. It went into a dark sector of space. A place we have never explored." The council chamber grew quiet. "Send a hunt fleet. Follow them." Resolute, the countdown begins. The Resolute floated in space, machines working non-stop to repair the hull. Time was running out. But Mira was calm. "We aren't escaping," she said. "We are racing the Valkyrie to something bigger than this war." Her second-in-command stepped closer. "What if the Lost Fleet is real? What if they're waiting for us?" Mira looked at the faint stars outside. "Then humanity finally has a chance." She touched the screen showing the hidden coordinates. "And the Valkyrie will face something they have never faced before." Her eyes hardened. "A united human fleet." The Valkyrie fleet arrives early. Alarms blared. "Captain," a crewman shouted. "Multiple warp signatures. They found us." Mira stood slowly, her face calm but fierce. "How many?" The officer swallowed hard. 12 ships, no, 20, 30? His voice cracked. Captain, an entire Valkyrie battle group is arriving. The stars outside rippled as massive Valkyrie warships entered the system, dark, cold, and ready for vengeance. The largest ship broadcasted a message. Human vessel. Your resistance ends now. Mira narrowed her eyes. Helm, get us moving. But the engines? Whatever power we have left. Now. The Resolute turned toward the beacon's coordinates. Mira gave one final order. Set course for the Lost Fleet. The Valkyrie commanders watched in confusion as the lone human warship began to escape. Lord Vexor hissed. Follow them. The chase for humanity's future had begun. Space twisted behind the Resolute as its engines pushed far beyond safe limits. The ship trembled like it might break apart at any second. Warning lights flashed red across every console. Mira stood firm. Hold it together, she said quietly. Outside, the Valkyrie battle group expanded into a dark formation. Dozens of ships, sleek, sharp, and deadly, followed like wolves chasing a wounded animal. The Resolute was faster. But not for long. Aboard the Resolute, running on hope. Sparks burst from a panel. Engineers shouted over the alarms. Engine heat rising. If we go any faster, the core will melt. Mira replied without turning her head. How long until we reach the beacon? The navigator scanned the flickering display. At current speed, 13 minutes. Then keep the engines alive for 13 minutes. The crew nodded, fear in their eyes but trust in their captain. The Valkyrie perspective. Inside the command room of the Valkyrie flagship Dark Requiem, Lord Vexor watched the chase from a massive holographic screen. The humans run toward empty space, he muttered. They think they can hide. Commander Zorak shook his head. No, my lord. They run with purpose. That ship knows something. Vexor narrowed his cold eyes. Then we must learn it, by force. He turned to his fleet. Prepare boarding teams. I want that human ship taken intact. Back to the Resolute. A strange phenomenon. The star field ahead began to warp. A faint blue fog formed in the distance, shimmering like a ghost. The navigator looked puzzled. Captain, the coordinates are pointing into that nebula. That nebula isn't on any star chart, the science officer whispered. Myra's eyes tightened. Good. That means the Valkyrie won't understand it either. The Valkyrie fleet closed in, now only minutes away. The beacon activates. As the Resolute entered the edge of the blue nebula, the signal suddenly strengthened. Beep, beep, beep. A clear human voice broke through the static. Resolute, you are close, follow the light. Before anyone could react, beams of faint white light appeared inside the nebula, like stars rearranging themselves into a path. The crew stared. It's a guide, Mira said. A trail. The ship followed the lights deeper into the fog. Valkyrie reaction. The Valkyrie ships reached the nebula's edge. Their scanner struggled. This mist is interfering with all systems, Zorak growled. We cannot track the human ship. Lord Vexor slammed a clawed hand on the console. Enter it. Now. The fleet pushed forward, but as soon as they crossed the nebula boundary, several ships blinked out of formation. What happened? Zorak demanded. Gravitational pulse inside the fog, my lord, an officer replied. It is rearranging space. Zorak whispered, this place was designed. Vexor growled. By humans. Inside the nebula, the hidden sector. The fog grew brighter until it finally cleared. Then the Resolute emerged into a vast hidden pocket of space. For a moment no one spoke. The crew stared ahead, eyes widening in disbelief. Ships. Everywhere. Hundreds of them. Old human battleships. Massive cruisers. Heavy carriers. All silent, sleeping, but intact. The lost fleet. It was real. A voice returns. The beacon activated one last time. Welcome, Resolute. Lights flared across the massive flagship at the center of the fleet. A ship 20 times larger than the Resolute. Its engines glowed faintly, waking from centuries of sleep. Humanity has waited long enough. The flagship's internal systems powered up. Guns turned. Shields activated. Engines roared to life. The lost fleet was awakening. The crew of the Resolute were frozen, breathless. Mira whispered, we're saved. But then the tactical officer shouted. Captain. Valkyrie fleet entering the nebula. They'll be here any minute. The lost fleet awakens. Across the hidden sector, ancient human ships lit up one by one. Their hulls were marked by age, but their cores were powerful. Some were larger than anything modern humans could build. A final message played. Resolute, lead the Valkyrie here. We will finish what they began centuries ago. The crew felt a chill. This was not just survival. This was vengeance. The Valkyrie entered the sector. The blue fog behind the Resolute flashed. Valkyrie warships burst through the mist, guns ready. Lord Vexor's voice echoed across the comms. Human ship. Surrender. Mira smiled coldly. No. The Valkyrie scanned the area, and froze. The lost fleet faced them, hundreds of human ships awakening, forming ranks like an army of sleeping giants now ready to fight again. Zorak whispered, My lord, this is impossible. This cannot be. Vexor roared. Humans could not build this. But it was too late. The flagship of the lost fleet broadcasted one final message, deep, powerful, and human. Valkyrie Dominion. You ended our past. Now we end your future. The battlefield exploded with light. The final war had begun.